Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Girl Be Free podcast. I'm your host, Siobhan, where I'm going to inspire and motivate you to show up for yourself. This week, what I want to share as it relates to what I am loving, friends who make space for me. I was thinking about this as I was driving the other day and I talk about my friends all the time. I just love them so much, but how I have space to just be me, whether that's being silly or being vulnerable, transparent, authentic, whatever it is, I have people who make room for me and allow me space to be. I've had a interesting week this week. Just a lot emotionally that I wasn't ready for. And I have friends at my fingertips that I can reach out to and have honest, open conversations. There's been tears and them allowing me space to just cry, which has been really, really helpful. So that's what I'm loving this week, that I have beautiful relationships with my friends. And it's great to have people check in on me to see how I'm doing, and I do the same for them. And then just watching how our relationships are blossoming just by being there for each other. I tell you, there is nothing like support from women, like nothing like it. I encourage you, if you don't have your own tribe of women, and that tribe can be one person or maybe many people, and they can be people that you know in real life or also people that you've met online that have became really great friends. But make space for one another. Allow your friends time to just be, and then also check in on them. I mean, as we know, there's so much stuff going on, and even the people that you think that are strong and they have it all together, sometimes they just need someone to say, "Hey, girl, I see you," or "I love you," or "I care about you. What do you need? How can I help you? How can I support you?" Like that is so necessary. So that is what I am loving this week. And one thing I do want to point out before I move on is that you can definitely find your tribe in the Be Free Inner Circle. I mentioned last week that you can become a member for only $19.99 a month, and you can lock in that rate if you become a member before the 15th of February. And what that means is that you get monthly group coaching, a book club, community support, accountability, and so much more. We're having a workshop coming up on February 23rd called Protect Your Energy, and I will be partnering and collaborating with Denise from Positive Life Haven. So this is the perfect time to join the Be Free Inner Circle to lock in that rate of $19.99 per month before the rate increases to $24.99 per month as of February 15th. So if you've been on the fence, like, I want to join, I'm not sure, I think now is the perfect time to do that. And you can do that by going to BeFreeInnerCircle.com. All right, now it's time for the listener review. And this week I am highlighting Impulse 16. And she says, "I absolutely love this podcast. It's so inspirational. Girl, your voice is so peaceful. May God continue shining his light through this ministry of freedom." Thank you so much. I totally appreciate that review. As I say each and every week, feel free to leave a review on Apple Podcasts with a 5-star rating. Also, share your review on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, and just tag me at Be Free Project or Girl Be Free Podcast, and I'll check it out, and I'll be sure to shout you out on the episode. So thank you so much for that. All right, today's topic is how to get your mojo back when you feel like you lost yourself. Now, this is going to be a good one because I know there's many women who feel like they lost a part of themselves. And the reason that I wanted to discuss this is because I received an email a few weeks ago from a woman who said exactly that. She was like, I have children that are either teenagers or young adults. And I lost myself once I had them, and I'm struggling trying to get my mojo back, is what she said. She also said that she's always willing to help and cater to others, but oftentimes she forgets about herself. She's not happy about where she's at in her life, and she just feels stuck. And so when she said that, I was like, man, like, I know what this feels like. And so I took it to Instagram and I said, let me do an IG story and see if there are other women who feel like they're lost. And so I asked a question first. I said, how many of you guys feel like you lost yourself after motherhood and or marriage or just life in general? And then I had a follow-up question which said, are you struggling with getting your mojo back? And 99% of the responses, which I got a lot of responses, said that yes, they felt like they lost themselves and they were struggling on how to get the groove back. They were struggling on trying to get back into some kind of groove and they feel lost. And so if that's you and you can relate, then this episode is definitely for you. I'm going to first start off with being transparent. I've probably said this before, but I did lose myself several years ago. I lost my identity after having kids and getting married at a very young age. I poured so much of myself and who I thought I needed to be, honestly. And no one ever asked me to do this, but it's just something that I thought, I guess this is the way you be a wife, or this is how you be a mom. And so I lost myself and I couldn't figure out, how do I get my groove back? Like, how do I get back to me? The Siobhan who had dreams and a vision and goals prior to having these roles. And it was really, really challenging. And it took me a long time to even acknowledge that I was lost, because when you're a mother, a wife, or whatever the relationships that you have in your life, like, you can get so caught up in them and you make other people your priority that you end up putting yourself on the back burner and you feel lost. And that's exactly what that was. And so what being lost looked like for me is, especially when my children were younger, like babies and toddlers, like not caring how I looked when it came to like my appearance. So just throwing on like anything, but always making sure the kids were cute, or, hair be pulled back into a ponytail because I had a lot of hair, long hair when my children were smaller, but not really spending a lot of time on it because it was time consuming. And thank God I cut it off because I so prefer it short. It also meant, what loss looked like to me is lacking purpose and meaning for my life. So, yes, I understood that my purpose at that moment was to be a good mother. And I use good in air quotes because that is relative to, depending on what you think a good mother is. But for me, like, that was important for me. And then it was important to be a good wife, but I was being a good wife not in the way that my husband really needed me, but what I thought a wife should be. So there was a lot of unlearning that I had to do in order to discover and find myself. Another way that I feel like I lost myself is that I started chasing what society deemed as successful. And I've talked about this on previous episodes where I said, okay, I have a college degree and now I have a graduate degree. I guess it's time for me to climb the corporate ladder. But that never really felt right to me, but I thought that's what I had to do. But yet my life felt like it was on repeat, where day in and day out, each day looked the same. And year after year, like, it was just the same old thing over and over again. And yes, it was happy moments. And I'm not going to discredit like that time frame. But if you ask me, did I know who I was? No, I did not. Another way that I feel like I lost myself, or what did loss look like for me, is that I stopped making me a priority because, and I know this happens, when you have children, like, you have to make sure that they're taken care of. Or it wasn't like it was all about me, but it was how, everything was about the children. It was a wake up call when I had this, like, I guess, aha moment. And what I had to come to terms with is that, number one, the old Siobhan, pre baby, pre marriage, now that my life had shifted and it was different, I had to rediscover who I was and who I wanted to be. Because anyone that has children or, married or, relationships, whatever the thing is, like, you do understand that these roles change you, right? And it causes you to give a lot of yourself. And what happens so often, more often than not, I should say, is that we give so much, and we give and we give and we give, and we lose ourselves. And so I'm challenging every Girl Be Free listener is that you have to fight to become the woman that you deserve to be outside of motherhood, outside of relationships, outside of your job. Like, you have to fight to become the person that you want to be. Like, it's not okay just to struggle and feel lost for years and years and years and then settle for that. That is not okay, right? So if you can acknowledge right now, like every woman that responded on my podcast, or excuse me, like every woman that responded on my IG stories, or people that have emailed me, or people that are in the Be Free inner circle, listen, if you can acknowledge that you feel stuck, that you feel lost in your life, that you feel unfulfilled, you feel unhappy, you're not where you want to be, it is not okay to settle. It is not okay to keep saying that day after day after day, but not do anything about it. That is not okay. So I'm excited to tell you about the Mindset Shift Challenge, which is a 5-day challenge kicking off on February 18th. I want you to ditch the negative head trash and shift your mindset so you can begin to show up for you. Again, this challenge is for 5 days. We're starting on February 18th. I will be going live on Instagram and Facebook at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time the week of the challenge. And then there will also be a free webinar that you can join for everyone in the challenge. So I advise you to make sure that you take a look at the show notes, join this free challenge so that you can get the notification and be all set and ready when we kick off on the 18th of February. And if you have friends, family, or what have you, and you like, girl, you need this challenge, make sure you share the link with them as well, and you will find that in my show notes. All right, now back to the show. If you feel lost, please know that you are a whole human being outside of the roles that you have to perform each and every day. And the only way you're going to begin to create the life you want is you have to want it really, really bad. And you have to get fed up with feeling stuck and overwhelmed. I mean, go back and listen to the previous episode where I talked about how being stuck is costing you. It's costing you your life. And when I was reading the email from the young lady, and she said how, her children were now, teens and young adults. That is a long time to be stuck. That is a long time to be lost, and you can never, ever, ever get this time back. So you have to stop making excuses, and you have to stop settling, and you got to you have to start, showing up for yourself. And I'm not asking anyone to do something that I'm not doing myself. And I'm definitely not asking you to figure it out all in one day. Now, I'm going to share with you some steps. But again, I really want you to be intentional that, again, don't just listen to me week after week and get a natural high. What are you going to do? Are you going to let this episode move you in such a way that you take action? And again, I'll give you some actionable steps towards the end. But I really want you to put in the work to shift how you feel, shift your thoughts, and really start to show up for yourself. And that's the whole reason that I'm having this 5-day mindset challenge. And it's not just for y'all, it's for me too, because I got some thoughts and things that I have to work on. And so make sure that you sign up for the challenge by clicking the link in my show notes. So I want you to be joyful. I want you to truly live. I want to celebrate you, and I want you to be winning. I don't want you just sitting back watching everybody else be successful in their own way. Like, I want to cheer for you. And so I'm going to continue to use me as example here. I had to give myself permission to do me. And I also had to acknowledge that I wasn't a bad person. I wasn't a bad mother. I wasn't a bad wife if I decided to choose me first. So that's what I want you to actually do, is to make a decision that you're going to choose you first, that you will be aware of your thoughts, and that you will start to put you first. So I'm going to give you some of the things that I did to stop feeling like I was lost. Number one, I went to therapy because it's what I needed for my life. All right, that was number one. The next thing I did is I started treating myself to things that I love. So acknowledging what were the things that brought me joy, what made me happy. Well, I love really good coffee. So treating myself to coffee, having conversations, inspiring conversations and laughter with my best friends. That was important. Eating good food, that felt good to me. Solo trips to the grocery store or Target runs, that was self-care. So figuring out like what were little bitty things I could do that would bring me joy and could get me out of the feeling, or get me out of the space, I should say, of feeling stuck. Another thing that I was doing is I journaled a lot, just writing down what I was feeling, what did I want for my life, and just really being very, very honest in my writing. And I was honest with myself, and I gave myself permission to feel however I wanted to feel. So if I was angry, I would write about that. If I was upset, if I was, envious of someone or something, like I just gave myself space to freely write. And what I understood was that a lot of the stuff, it was things that I could change. Like I was in control of my life and I was able to change it. And I was determined that I was not going to struggle and I'm not going to struggle. And that if I wanted my life to be different, guess what? I had to take action. One thing that I did focus on is that who was I outside of being a mother and a wife, a granddaughter, all these different roles? Who was I outside of that? That can be a really challenging question when we've been doing these roles for so long, especially if you got married early, or if you had children early, your life immediately changes. So it's like, okay, well, who am I? Let me just point this out for you because I think this is very important, that losing yourself is very common. Many, many, many women can relate. I mean, I get emails all the time. I get messages. Like when I have my events, this is something very common, that women feel lost. They feel unfulfilled and they feel unhappy. And I share that to say that you are not alone. However, no matter where you're at, you can always start fresh. You always have a fresh start to start over. So I'm going to give you a list of things to do if you're someone who feels lost today. What can you do to get started? So the first thing that you can do is purchase the Free Your Mind Journal. And the reason I'm saying that this is the first thing, because the questions that are in the journal are questions that I asked myself when I felt lost. It's going to help you get clarity. It's going to help you figure out who you are and what you want for your life. And as you write your thoughts down on paper and you begin to free your mind, then it's like, okay, now I have a little bit more clarity. What action do I need to take to move forward? You're going to find the link to the Free Your Mind Journal in my show notes, but that is definitely a good start. And one thing I want to make note of is that your self-care is your priority and it's not negotiable. And I want you to write that down because it's very important. Number two is I want you to look at your calendar. So look at the month right now. Where can you pencil yourself in? Find a day that you're going to carve out specifically for you. Start practicing self-care and doing things that bring you joy, whether that's going to movies and out to eat by yourself, whether that's chilling in your bed all day watching Netflix, maybe that's pampering like a massage or a facial. Whatever it is, carve out time every month for you. Number three is to find your tribe. I said this in the very beginning. Women, we need each other. We do. There's no space for negative energy. There's no space for drama. We need each other and we need to inspire, encourage, and be there for one another. There is nothing like having women in your corner that will make space for you and that will encourage you when you're not feeling 100%. You need women around you who get it and that will let you be exactly who you are without judgment. Obviously, I'm going to always recommend the Be Free Inner Circle because it's the perfect space for that. Again, go to BeFreeInnerCircle.com to learn more. Your besties, whether they're online besties or in-person besties, spend more time with women and start to share like, hey, I feel lost. I feel stuck, girl. What do I do? And maybe I would hope, that you have women in your corner like I do that will help you get to a good space. All right. Next is to let go of the guilt. Stop beating yourself up for woulda, shoulda, coulda, because you cannot change anything about your situation. It is in the past. So let it go. You have definitely made progress. You have some things to be grateful for. You do have some wins. So focus on that. But don't beat yourself up and carry all this guilt over things you have no control over. Next, I want you to work out and exercise. So one of the things that I do in the Be Free Inner Circle is every week I do a fitness challenge. And I say, ladies, every day carve out 30 minutes for physical activity. They get to choose whatever workout they want to do. And then they just post in the group so we can hold each other accountable. But working out and getting your body together, that will help you start to feel better about yourself and about your life. Like that's a good starting point. Next is to stop putting yourself last. Stop making everybody else a priority and then you're always on the back burner. You have to let go of having to be there for everybody else, but yet you're never being there for you. Next is that if you're trying to figure out how to move from feeling lost to feeling free or just taking some steps in the right action, you can work with me. I am a clarity cultivator where I help women get unstuck. I help them figure out what they want for their lives so that way they can begin to cultivate the life they desire. And I hold you accountable to show up for yourself. I have a couple of different coaching options and I do have space available in my calendar. So if you're ready to work with me, there's a link in the show notes to learn more. And then the last thing that I want to point out is that if you feel lost, I created a resource guide for you. It's 101 resources to help you get unstuck and start to live your best life. I am so proud of it. You're going to find podcasts, websites, music, and so much more. So definitely check that out. The link for that will be in the show notes. So that is everything that I have for you. If you can relate, if you feel lost, you can always shoot me an email at hello@befreeproject.com. You can also tag me or reach out to me on the IG page, which is Girl Be Free Podcast. Your action step for this week is simply join the Mindset Shift Challenge. The link is in the show notes. It's going to be an amazing challenge to help you begin to shift your mindset. Dope women doing dope things. And this week I'm highlighting Nicole Kane, who is the founder of Exo Nicole. And I really love this site because it's specifically for women and it covers culture, beauty, career, life, love, and so much more. This is an amazing website to check out and just get their content. You can sign up for their newsletter list, but it's really great and they always have really inspiring articles. So definitely check out exonicole.com. Lastly, I send out newsletters every single week. If you're not on my newsletter list, definitely join by going to befreeproject.com/newsletter. As always, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate your support. You, my Girl Be Free listeners, are the best. Continue to share this podcast on social media. You can share it in your IG stories, text a friend, share it on Facebook, Twitter. Feel free to tag me at Be Free Project. And then if you're on Instagram, tag me at Girl Be Free Podcast. You can follow me anywhere on social at Be Free Project and connect with me, and I would love to chat with you. So as always, thank you so much for listening, and until next time, girl, be free.